Remember, please get your parents' consent before attempting any activity.
Hey y'all, this is Miss Ross, the Activity Boss. I'm here with BGCSA Live, your virtual Boys and Girls Club, and today we're going to keep learning about how to program in Scratch. Today we're going to learn all about sound blocks, and there are these blocks in Scratch that you can use to play different sounds. So I'm going to teach you how to program musical instruments in Scratch and have them play sounds so they sound just like real instruments. So let's get started.
You're going to start by going to scratch.mit.edu and hitting create. And we're going to get rid of that Scratch cat and click and choose background. I'm going to choose theater. So it looks kind of like a stage since we're programming musical instruments. And then choose a sprite. And I'm going to choose two different instruments. I'm going to use the drum and the saxophone. I'm going to make them both a little bit larger. So I'm going to show you two different ways that you can program musical instruments in Scratch. The first way is very straightforward and simple, and the second way is a little bit more complicated. So let's start with the drum. Go to Events, and I'm going to choose a when left arrow key pressed block. And let's go to Costumes and see what's going on. So the second costume, it kind of looks like there's music playing and vibrating off the drumsticks, but kind of not really. So let's make it a little bit better. So you can tell that the drumsticks are grouped together because they move together. So we're going to click Ungroup and highlight the lines in the drumstick and rotate them. And then it's behind the drum, so you can click the drum and move it backward. And let's do the same thing with the other drumstick. Alright, now it actually looks like there's music being played and the drumsticks are hitting the drum. So in our code, we can toggle between these two images. And let's go to sounds. So there's high tom and low tom. I'm going to use the low tom sound. So let's get a sound playing. I'm going to go to the sound blocks and drag out start sound low tom. So now the drum plays music when I hit the left arrow key. But the drumsticks aren't moving, so I think this could be a little better. Let's go to the looks blocks and drag out two next costume blocks. Alright, now let's see what happens. Well, my code tells me that it's changing costumes, but I can't actually see it because the code is happening so quickly. So let's slow it down a little bit so we can actually see what's going on. Alright, so now since we slowed down our code, you can actually see the code toggling between our two different costumes. So it looks like the drum's being played and it sounds like it's being played too. So pretty cool. We programmed our first instrument. Now let's do our saxophone. So the saxophone has two costumes as well, and let's rotate the second costume so it looks a little more like it's playing like the drum. And wow, there are a lot of sounds available. So what can we do to get the saxophone to play all of these sounds instead of like the drum, which right now only plays one sound? It's only playing low tom. So we can do that by creating something called a variable. And a variable is a way to store information. So we're not going to dive too deep into that, but I'm going to show you how we can use it to make our code run a little bit better. So we're going to make a variable and call it sound. And click OK. And now let's get our code set up. So we need an event. I'm going to do when right arrow key pressed. We want it to change between the costumes like it did last time, right? We'll add a control to wait so that we can actually see the movement. And we'll do start sound. Okay, now let's see what happens. Well, it's pretty cool, but it's just playing the same sound over and over like the other one. So this is where our variable is going to come in. I'm going to drag out and change my variable by one block. Click sound, and then drag that little sound oval in there. Now let's see what happens. So you can see that every time I click the right arrow, this number goes up by 1. So this is our variable. And what it's doing is it's telling the computer to change the sound by 1 every time we click the right arrow. And we also put our variable in here so that it's going to start playing the sound. So what it's doing is telling the computer to add 1 to the sound every time you hit the right arrow. So it's going through all of these sounds each time we hit the right arrow. So it's just running through all of them whenever we hit the right arrow. So that was a great way to use a variable because it made our code really efficient. We didn't have to drag in a bunch of different sound blocks and use a ton of blocks to try to make it play a different sound every time we press the right arrow. So you guys can go crazy with that and use either method to program some more instruments, and I hope you guys had fun learning about how to program musical instruments.
You can check out our other virtual club videos on YouTube and Facebook. You can also subscribe to our channel and like or share this video and let us know what you think about it. You can also check out our summer camp, Camp Chandler Tonsmeyer, for some fun social distancing. And you can sign up by going to www.bgcsouthaL.org/camp. See you next time.